This is the Hard Thing Podcast. Welcome to The Forge. Welcome back to another episode of the Hard Thing Podcast. This is the podcast that helps you overcome average, step up above mediocrity, all by doing hard things. Our goal here is to give you the tips, tricks, tools, tactics, whatever you need to improve your life, all by doing hard things. We want to get you there, get you down in the trenches, up and out of them. Today's our Thursday show, so it's called The Forge. For those of you who are new here, I'm your host, Justin Lewis. Usually I have my co-host, Ty Crockett, but as you can see, I am all alone. Ty's actually gone through some family difficulties, so if you guys can keep him and his family in your prayers, I know that they would definitely appreciate that. And since Ty's not here, it's going to look a little bit different, but usually what we do on these episodes is we talk about our action items that we were given on our Monday show. So on Mondays, I have guests, high-performing guests, people who have been there, done that, suicide survivors, people who have climbed mountains like Mount Fuji, even some people who have done treks to the Himalayas. I've had ex-NFL football players on here, MLB players, just some awesome people. The list goes on and on. But really, on this show, on the Thursday show, we take their action items that they give at the end of the episode, put them into practice, as well as we give each other some challenges to do as, to push each other and to help each other move forward. So without further ado, let's jump right into the show. If you want to stick around after the show, I got some announcements, but let's talk about the show. So since Ty's not here, we can't really talk about the action items I gave him 2 weeks ago. So we'll leave that for another time. Instead, I want to give you a quote. It's Memento Mori. It's an ancient Roman saying, you could say, and it literally means remember death or something to that effect. Basically, the idea is, hey, every one of us is going to die. So you better get busy living, as they say in, Shawshank Redemption. The reason why I bring this up is because, in these last couple of weeks, I have contemplated the value of life and the value of doing things while you are living, and thinking that so many of us live life waiting for, waiting for the next big thing. We wait to get to the top of the hill, or we wait till the grass is greener or whatnot, rather than spending time making life better or spending time enjoying the life that we have. Now, this is by no means a license to eat, drink, and be merry for tomorrow we die. I mean, that is true, but I'm not here saying just forget about responsibility and forget about your discipline. What I'm saying is stop and smell the roses. Appreciate those around you, especially people. So fast we go through life, not worrying about how many tomorrows we have, when one day the tomorrows we have are gone. And sometimes even worse, the tomorrows of someone we really love and care about are gone. And we didn't take any time to live today. So I would really encourage you all to think about, especially going into the new year in 2021, think about the value of life in your life and what you value. So actually with that, that's a little teaser towards the end of today's show. I'm going to give you guys a challenge, but just ruminate on that, ruminate on the value of life and think about that. I'm going to talk about the action items that this last week's guest gave to us. So if you haven't listened to the episode, go back and listen to it. It's a good one. I talked with Shereen Kassam. She is a female comedian. She's super funny, but I really enjoyed her genuineness, her ability to be genuine. I really enjoyed that. She talked about some challenges that she had with cancel culture and people coming after her for who knows what. And she gave some good advice on how to deal with that and how to make yourself better for any situation and not just, for specific ones. So she gave us a couple of action items. First of all, she said to say yes to something. Next action item was take a class in something new. And then the last one was reset. So talking about the first one, say yes to something, if you haven't, I would highly encourage you to listen, or not listen, excuse me, to watch the movie Yes Man. Jim Carrey is the main character, and basically, the movie is about him having a terrible life, and then he goes to this seminar in which this motivational speaker curses him, basically, or at least he thinks so, that if he doesn't say yes to everything, something bad will happen. And that changes his life. He goes from someone who's kind of the side character in everyone else's story, excuse me, to the main character in his own story. He really becomes this really fantastic, cool person that you want to be around, right? And I love this action on him because I am not that way. I'm the kind of person that will probably say no before even thinking about what you invite me to do, which is one reason why I'm so blessed to have the wife that I have. I got married a little over 2 years ago, and my wife has challenged me and pushed me to do things that I'm not normally I wouldn't normally do. So last year, for example, I decided to try snowboarding, right? Snowboarding. And I liked it. My wife likes skiing, and her whole family's ski nuts. Uh, so when I was like, "Hey, I want to try snowboarding," they're like, "You're weird." So I tried it last year, and I really enjoyed it. Right now, this year comes around, and my birthday is coming up. Right back in December, my birthday came up. My wife somehow finagled her family to buy us a ski pass for me because she had already had one. My wife did. We got one for her because I knew that was something she valued. Um, and the day she got it for us, we could go. We could go skiing or boarding, whatever the term you use. But I didn't want to because I'm the kind of person that like I like to plan for things. I like to, I'm not a spontaneous person. I'm just not. Again, which is why I'm so blessed to have my wife, because my wife was able to shoot down all of my excuses. And she, at one point, she was literally like, "Do you got any more excuses? I can do this all day." And I was like, "No, like I don't have any more excuses." And so we're finally, we go on the slopes, and it was just a great time. It was super fun. My wife, she, and that still happens again, because I hate to say it, but I think I'm kind of, sorry, I think I'm kind of lazy when it comes to doing new things, getting out and trying things. And my wife pushes me to do the opposite, to go try things, to be new, to do things that aren't typically me. So that's something that I was really fortunate for having this wife. So moral of the story is, say yes to something and you will not regret it. And if you do regret it, it'll become a fantastic story. I can't tell you how many times in high school my friends and I went camping, or most of the time we went camping. Sometimes we'd come back early. That's a whole nother story. But we'd go camping and we'd have a miserable time there. But when we come back, it's just the greatest story. I think one of the best ways to determine the value of your life, one of the best, is the joy you get by the stories you tell. And I would encourage you to go out and make more of your own stories. So next thing, take a class in something new. Now, this is actually something I've been contemplating personally, whether I should take a class on how to podcast better and do things like that. But recently, also for Christmas, my wife's parents got her and myself access to a class for concealed carry permits. My wife and I ended up paying for the permits ourselves, but they paid for the class, which was nice. It was super nice. But this was a class of something we'd never done. I mean, I've wanted to have a concealed carry permit for a while, but I really enjoyed this class specifically because it taught me to think in new ways. And I think that's the beauty of taking classes in something new and interesting to you. And the best part is, now that everyone's at home and doing shelter in place and all that junk, these classes are available online for the most part, so many of them. And if they're not, you can still make it work. You can still make it happen. There are community colleges all over the place that offer classes on things that you might enjoy. I know that Harvard puts classes up online that you can just watch. You don't even have to pay for them. Obviously, you don't get the class credit, which is a whole nother thing. But as far as the knowledge goes, there you go. I know I was talking to Ty the other day, and he was talking to me about dishwashers. And he says he watches this YouTuber who teaches you about all the ins and outs of specific dishwashers and things like that. And he taught me something new about dishwashers that I didn't know. So if you consider that a class, then go for it. But the nice thing about classes is at the end of it, because generally classes are designed, they have almost like a hero's journey type thing. They take you through an arc, a learning arc. And at the end, you can see exactly what you've learned and how far you've come versus just reading a book on something or reading an article. So I would highly encourage you to take a class on something new. Go look up some classes you might be able to take. Go do some research. Again, I'm very interested in maybe looking at some podcasting courses on how to build a better business from podcasting. I think that might be very valuable. So go try that out. Go try a new class and something new. Last but not least, reset. This one's kind of a tough one for me. So as I'm recording this, I'm actually on vacation with my wife. This is a long overdue vacation because we had these tickets to go about a year ago. And then because of COVID-19, we had to reschedule twice. And I'm here, and honestly, it's kind of hard for me to step away from work, step away from the podcast and really not worry about things. And, but resetting is so valuable for you because in a way it lets the dust settle. So in our minds, it's kind of like the inside of a snow globe, I guess. And all the snow little particles are just whirling about. And we as the snowman in the snow globe, we're just sitting there trying to see out of the snow globe, and the snow globe's our mind. When you sit there and you reset, and when Shireen, my guest, when she said reset, she really meant in COVID-19, 2020. I know that 2020 is over, but in the time that all of us are staying at home or being furloughed or being away from our job or what have you, take the time to reset and move forward with reinvigorated strength. Find clarity in your next steps. Just because you're relaxing doesn't mean you are wasting time. In working out, you don't build muscle in the weight room. You build it at home during your recovery. So take this time as recovery to build you up stronger, gain some clarity, and maybe some well-needed solitude so you can move forward stronger and more purpose-driven in the future. That's what I'm trying to do with this vacation, is really take some time, reset, enjoy time with my wife, and come back and be ready to get after it. That's really what the main goal is. Now, those are the 3 action items. Say yes to something, take a class in something new, and reset. Now let's get on to the new challenge portion. So usually I will give Ty a challenge at this part, but since Ty's been out for 2 weeks, I figured he can just keep the same challenges as last time and just work on those. Instead, I would like to give you, the listener, challenges that will, or not challenges, but a challenge that I hope will improve your life and make you a better person. So what I challenge you to do is to take some time, okay? Take some time during your reset, some solitude, and either think about or write down lists of what is most important to you, especially in this year, 2021. What are the most important things to you? Because you can tell what's most important to you by how you spend your time, how you spend your money, and how you spend your energy. Basically your resources, how you spend your resources. So this is the list of things on which you plan to spend resources. Write down the list of what's important to you. If that's your family, write it down. If it's money, write that down, because all things in their seasons. There is a time when money is very important, specifically when you don't have enough to survive. That becomes very important. If you do find that it is important, maybe money is only important in as much as it is a means to growing your wealth so you can help yourself, your family, your future, and others. Or maybe so you can just avoid having a black swan event in your life like COVID-19. So you can avoid being furloughed, the first one out the door when hard times hit. Maybe that's what it is. Or maybe what's most important is memories, creating a cache of memories with the people you love. And the thing about having a list of the things that are most important is the biggest things often shove the other things out of the way, right? And it's usually in a frame of time. So what's the most important thing in your life? Well, if you say family, of course, but that doesn't mean that there's no room for having a career, uh, building a business, or what have you. But family's still the most important thing. In a smaller time frame, there's less room for those other things, right? Let's say a great example is a 90-day time frame, actually. If you want to build a business and get a promotion in your career, those two things might be too big for both of them to fit within that 90-day frame. So in the frame of 2021, what is the most important thing? This isn't a goal. This isn't a plan. This is just a list of values or principles or ideas even that you find are the most important and that you want to spend the most time pointed towards. In fact, on Jordan Peterson's Instagram, he's releasing the rules in his new book, 12 More Rules for Life, and an Antidote to Chaos, I think it was. Or maybe that's a combination of both titles, his last title and his new, I don't know. But he's writing a new book and he's releasing the rules. And one of the rules he released is find the greatest good in your life and point basically unceasingly towards it. Like don't deviate from that path. So this is the exercise in this challenge. Write down or think about just some way, get the list of what's most important to you in your life down. So that way you can point towards that unceasingly. Thanks so much for listening to this episode, guys. I really appreciate it. If you want to do that challenge, I would love to see what you're up to. Go ahead and take pictures of those lists or whatnot. Send them to me at the Hard Thing Podcast on Facebook and Instagram. And I will give you shout outs. I'll put you up on our social media. Hopefully we can give you support. And if there's something on there that I can help out with, I'll see what I can do there. But if you are looking for more in your life, if you're looking for a bigger push and more resources to get ahead, then join The Forge. The Forge is the name of this podcast, this Thursday show, but it's also the name of a free community we created to help you get ahead and do those hard things in your life. It's a free community where you can band together with other like-minded individuals, find your tribe, so to speak, and get the same, I guess, dynamic that I get from having Ty on this show and having Ty give me challenges and be accountable to him. So join The Forge at theforge.mn.co. When you do join, and it is free, by the way, you'll get access to a couple things. First of all, you'll get access to live streamed episodes like this one and episodes with guests. So guests that come out weeks or months even ahead of when they release for the general public. You'll be able to see them live, as well as interact with me, and I'll interact with the guests on your behalf. So you can type in questions in the chat and I can ask them and things like that. Next, you'll get discounts to merchandise on the Hard Thing Podcast store, which is thehardthingpodcast.com/shop. Last but not least, you'll get weekly challenges just like the one I just gave you, but that are exclusive to The Forge. Now, what I gave you today is just a little taste of kind of what you get with The Forge. So if you want to get that, go to theforge.mn.co. Join The Forge today. Again, it's 100% free. Just join a tribe, join your tribe, get support, do hard things. I'd also like to invite you to help us raise $1,000 for Operation Underground Railroad. Now, I hate trafficking. I hate human trafficking. I really do. I wish it didn't exist. And there are not as many people trying to extinguish it as there should be. Maybe you're not doing what you could. Two things. If you're not, go to OURrescue.org and get involved, get some information, learn about what you need to know, and go to gofundme.com/overcoming-average, donate some money, even just $1. Donate some money and help us raise $1,000 for Operation Underground Railroad. I keep seeing Operation Underground Railroad's Instagram, and I see these pictures of kids or people, really, their stories of how they were trafficked. They were living in squalor. They were being abused and tortured every day. And then finally they were rescued. And now they're living an amazing life. Like the fact that you and I, let's say I want to go to the grocery store today. Hey, I'm going to go to the grocery store, pick up some Gatorade or something. I don't know. Well, they can't do that. They're slaves. They can't just leave. They are under threat of violence. And OUR goes and rescues those kids. So please, I beg you, help us raise some money for them, or just go donate to them yourself. OURrescue.org and GoFundMe.com/overcoming-average. Thanks so much for listening to this show, guys. Thanks for being with me and just being a part of the journey. I really appreciate it. I really appreciate you guys being there with me. Keep doing hard things because you will overcome average.